If you've ever experienced that dreaded message of error establishing a database connection with WordPress, you'll know how frustrating it can be. You may be delved into why the problems are there, but you maybe not found a solution. Well, today I've got 9 of the most common causes and 9 of the most common solutions for those causes. Let's take a look at the first one. The first one we'll take a look at is incorrect database credentials. Might sound difficult, but it's actually very easy to fault find. All you need to do is access your WordPress website's files. You can do this via a control panel, via FTP. There's lots of different methods. Once you're in there, locate the usually public_HTML folder, and inside there, you want to take a look for the wp-config.php file. Open that up to view it. And then take a look until you come across all the database options. This will give you the database name, the user, the password, the host, and so on. Check those to make sure they are 100% correct. You can generally take a look at doing this inside your control panel. And in worst case, you could contact your hosting provider to provide you with those credentials so you can double check that they are 100% correct. If they're not, correct them, save the file, reload your website, and you should find everything is back up and running the way it should be. Next on our list is a corrupt database. Now this can sound really daunting, but the reality is it should be relatively simple to fix. If you've got cPanel or any other control panel with access to phpMyAdmin, we can use that to go and take a look and try to correct those corrupt files. All you need to do is open up phpMyAdmin, look for your database in the list on the left-hand side and select it. This will then show you all the tables for your database. Select them all. Use the check all option, and then the little drop down we have at the bottom, open this up, and the first thing you want to do is go and check the table. So we're going to say check table. That's going to go through and find any of the tables that may become corrupted. Take a look through, and anyone that's marked as having a problem, we can then go back to that same list again from the left hand side, choose that particular database table, choose the same drop down list again, but this time choose the option for repair table. Run that, and that should repair any issues you have. Next, you may have an unresponsive database server. Now, this is something that your hosting company should A, be aware of, and B, be able to fault find and sort out for you without any real problem. If you experience this, contact your hosting company, explain the problem and the situation, ask them if they're experiencing any issues with databases at this point in time. If they are, wait till that actually gets rectified and your site should be back up and running in no time. Next on the list is corrupt WordPress core files. Now, providing you have a backup, this is incredibly easy to do. They do have a backup, but if you don't, please do start using that right now. There's a link in the description to show you how you can start doing this. The easiest way, though, is generally if you've got your hosting company taking backups, you can restore from there. So, for example, if you're using cPanel, you can log in and take a look for the backup and restore options. In my case, we've got Jet Backup 5. I can open this up, go to my home directory, and from there, all of my backups are listed. I can select the backup that I want and choose the option to restore. That will restore my website to the latest backup that I have. In this case, it's from the same day as I'm actually doing this video. So you should have at least daily backups running. If you don't, contact your hosting company and see how you can enable that option to make sure you've got backups in place should the worst happen. Next up are server-side issues. The easiest way to do this is to restart your server. Now, you can handle this in 2 ways. You can contact your hosting company and ask them to do that for you if you're not comfortable doing it, or you don't know how to do it. Alternatively, if you have access to this facility, for example, on my Cloudways account, I can simply come up to the 3 dots next to my server and choose the option to restart. This will then reboot my server, restart everything, and hopefully that should then correct any issues you have with unresponsive server issues or anything else that may be caused that needing a reboot. Next up, we've got heavy database load as an issue. Now, this is something that can happen for a multitude of different reasons. And one of the easiest ways to check this, if you're using cPanel, is log into your account. Take a look on the right-hand side, and this will give you statistics. This is where you can go and check out how much bandwidth you're using and so on, but also you can see CPU usage and also things like database usage, in-out operations, and so on. So if you see this is spiking, you may need to contact your hosting company or find out why those spikes are taking place. If it's because you have a lot of traffic, you may need to up the resources applied to your particular account. But this can cause your database to have an issue and therefore create that database error connection message. Next, we may have issues when it comes to plugins or themes. They could be causing some kind of conflict. The easiest way to deal with that is to disable them temporarily to find out if there's an issue when your site comes back online, and then you can reinstate them one at a time to see which causes the problem. Now, the easiest way to do this, if you have access to your WordPress website and the admin, is to go in and just disable them. Just log into your dashboard, go into the install plugins section, select all your plugins, and choose the bulk action to deactivate them. The same thing goes when you go into Appearance. Come into your Appearance and Themes, and then simply go and select the theme that's currently active and disable it. But if you don't have access to your actual dashboard, how can you do it? Well, this is pretty straightforward as long as you have access to the actual files on your server. If you have something like cPanel installed, which is a very common control panel for your server, all you need to do is simply come down into the File section, locate File Manager, or whatever it may be called, and this will give you access to basically like an FTP section of your site. Go into your public HTML folder, into your WP content folder, and in there you'll see plugins and you'll see themes. What you can do is you can either delete the plugins folder, which I don't recommend, or you can just right-click and choose the option to rename this, and then do something like _old and rename that, and then that will disable those plugins, and you can then test if you can access your site. If that doesn't work, you can kind of do the same thing for your themes. You can come into your themes folder, and inside there's all your themes. You could do the same thing here, or actually do it for the entire folder, just to see if you get access to your website and that database error goes away. But it's not that difficult to do. And then once you've checked everything out, you can go in and you can reinstall those plugins one by one to find out where the issue actually lies. Now, another issue could be insufficient database privileges. If that is the case, you're going to need to make sure you update them. So what we need to do is go into our control panel, find the option for your MySQL databases and open it up. And in there, you should find all of your users. What you need to do is go in, choose the user or users that you want, choose the database they're associated with, and then make sure you change or update or give them full access to all the facilities that they need to be able to connect up to the database and get everything up and running and working. That should then get you out of that problem and have your database connection working one more time. Next up, we have the exceeded database quota. And all this means is that you've used up all the allotted space for your database. Then you're either going to need to contact your hosting company to ask them to increase the amount of space that you've got available to you. Or if you've got something like WHM where you can control these things on a shared hosting side, you could probably update this yourself and give more space available to that database. Or ultimately, you may need to optimize things and get rid of all the junk that may be included in your database, but you need to do that once the connection is back up and running and you have access to your website and your database is all working the way it need be. And that's 9 real-world ways in which you can look at and solve error connecting to your database issues with WordPress. Now, if you come across any other options, errors, or solutions, drop those in the comment section down below and let everybody benefit from that wisdom and experience that you've picked up over the years. As always, all applicable links are in the description. My name is Paul C. This is WPTuts, and until next time, take care.